Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while. I think it's been like a month now. I don't know. Basically, I was meant to upload part 2 of the Lord of Chaos review a week after part 1, and in an amazing turn of events, I got COVID again, and that just took me out for like a week, bit more than a week. And after I recovered, I had exams and a final year project, so I was studying, doing exams, working on that project. So I have a small window of time now. That's actually a lie. I should be studying for an exam on Friday, but I have some time that I've set aside now to do this quick little book haul / unboxing video, just so I have something to put out, because I am aware of how long it's been and it's starting to annoy me. I have some stuff from Broken Binding, some special editions, I'll unbox those, and then I have some just general pickups. I have a good few indie books that I've picked up for this Digging for Gems series that I started a couple months ago, so I'll go through those as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's a catch-up, really brief. Okay, so without further delay, let's get into the Broken Binding stuff, some nice special editions. Gotta be careful not to show my address here. So this is what the packaging looks like. It's pretty nice, pretty fancy. Don't have my box cutter, gonna use a key instead. And then open it up. This is what it looks like inside. I don't know if I should edit out the unboxing process. I presume the whole point of an unboxing is to show the unboxing.
Sometimes my genius is... it's almost frightening.
So I will not, maybe. Throw it on the ground. And there you get the book itself. Spoiler alert on the sticker. Didn't know they done that. So, as you probably saw, first book up is The First Law by Joe Abercrombie. I joined the Broken Binding subscription service, which I should not do because I don't necessarily have the facilities for that, financially speaking, but I'm not a responsible spender. I'm not responsible with my money, so I subscribed anyways. Don't know if you guys can even hear my voice over the sound of that paper ripping, but I am still new to this. Sorry for that. This is what the book looks like. Excuse my profanity, but it's pretty fucking sexy. This is what the sprayed edges looks like. Very, very nice. I have not read the First Law series before. I'm gonna be reading it using this now. I know there's people that... oh, I'm looking at this myself. I should be showing it to you guys. I know there's people that don't like to use special editions for a first read, but okay, I paid for it. I'm reading it, not just displaying it. That's what it looks like on the inside. And then I believe the naked hardcover for this is also pretty damn nice, from pictures I've seen on Twitter. And it is indeed pretty damn nice on the inside. Here's the front, here's the spine. Oh. Say one thing for Logan Nine Fingers, don't even know who that is yet because I haven't started the series. That's pretty much it for book 1. Doesn't have any special illustrations inside or anything. At least to my knowledge it doesn't. If it does now, it'll be looking goofy, but I don't think it does. Here's the spine again for the dust jacket. Here's the front again really quick. Very nice, very nice. Just finished recording the video and realized I never even showed the signed page for this. Here you go. Number 743. So yeah, I'm pretty much at the back of the bus on this one. Broken Binding have been popping off with the special editions lately. They're just really on a mission to destroy my bank account. There's even a Shadows of the Apt special edition out now for the first book. I can't remember what it's called, but I don't know why I'm showing you the box again, but there's a special edition for that book out now, and I'm really questioning whether or not I want to buy it. Okay, so here's the second special edition. No sticker on this one. Whatever could it be? Probably put it in the thumbnail already as a spoiler. But... oh, that's nice. That's nice. That's nice. That's very nice. Prince of Thorns by Mark Lawrence, 10th anniversary edition. Also have not read this yet. Will be reading it using this. Here's the edges. I mean, I like this so much more than the First Law edition. Don't know if that's an unpopular take or not, but I think this looks amazing. Here's the back. And I believe there's... oh. Here's the inside. Number 410. Not exactly high up on the listing, but it is what it is. Let me take that off so you can see what it looks on the inside. And I believe it's the same on the back. Yeah. Well, let me take the dust jacket off. I mean, come on, this is just looks amazing. Then you get this on the back. What's this say? Before the thorns taught me their sharp lesson and bled weakness from me, I had but one brother, and I loved him well. But those days are gone, and what is left of them lies in my mother's tomb. Now I have many brothers, quick with knife and sword, and as evil as you please. I probably read that a bit upbeat for what is actually in the text. Please do not hire me to do an audiobook for you in the near future, but that's what it says on the back. Pretty cool. Don't know the relevance. And that's pretty much it for special edition number 2. I like this one very much. If you guys do not shop with the Broken Binding, this isn't a sponsored video, but I recommend you do. They have some pretty sick books. They do some pretty sick limited editions, and they do a lot of author signed books on their site as well. They're based in the UK, so yeah, check them out. Moving on to the other books I've got that are traditionally published. I'm going to rinse through these ones pretty quick because I mentioned them in the first haul that I need to get them, so I'm not going to spend too long talking about them. I got the rest of the Books of Babel by Josiah Bancroft, and I also got the, oh shit, what's this called? Of Blood and Bone by John Gwynne. I said I needed to get those books to finish the sets that I already had, so I'm not going to talk about them much. But actually, I will mention Faithful and the Fallen. Everybody telling me that this is a Viking story. Absolutely capping their asses off. It is Celtic. Very disappointed, but I do have Shadows of the God, which I believe is Viking inspired instead. Next up is Stephen Erickson's The God Is Not Willing, the first tale of Witness. Don't really know much about this book. I know it's set after Malazan, that's why I bought it. Haven't even started Malazan. I'm kind of hedging my bets here, but I think I'll enjoy Stephen Erickson's works from what I've heard of them being said around the Bookshuv sphere. Is that what it's called? So I'm excited to read this eventually after finishing Malazan. Then I think this is the last of the traditionally published stuff. Yes, it is. It is the first 2 books in the Burning series by Evan Winter. Wrong way around there. So we have The Rage of Dragons and The Fires of Vengeance. I don't even know anything about these either. I only got these because they're African inspired. I think it's pretty self-explanatory if you're looking at the video instead of listening why that is appealing to me. So I'll be reading these at some point. And I heard they're pretty action-packed, and I kind of just want to have something like that on the side in case I'm ever in the mood for something like that. Just quick, action-packed fun. So next up, all the self-published and indie books I got. Gonna start off with a couple of YouTube darlings here. First one being Empire of Silence by Christopher Rocchio. Got this for a fantastic price, €10. I think it was less than €10 even. I was waiting so long to find this for less than like €96. I was checking bookfinder.com. If you need to find a book that is hard to find like this for a decent price, that is the site to use. I was checking that site like daily, and then all of a sudden a few popped up on there for like, I want to say €8 on bookoutlet.com. Went and picked myself up a copy. So I'm very happy with this purchase. Don't really know anything about this book, don't even know who that guy on the cover is, but it is a very nice cover. And I heard this is a mix of Red Rising, I think it was, and oh geez, I'm gonna get butchered for not knowing the name of the series. Patrick Rothfuss's series. Geez, I'm so sorry I don't know the name. I'm new to fantasy, don't hold it against me. So I'm excited to read that whenever I get to it. I'm pretty certain this will be my entry into sci-fi as well, so I think it's a good entry, I don't know. Next up is Dreams of the Dying by Nicholas Liazao. Is this not one of the nicest hardcovers you've seen in your life? I mean, come on now. Not even a special edition, it's just the base version. It has the Philip Chase vouch, it has the Petrick vouch, that's enough for me. From what I do know about the series, it seems like somebody with kind of the same struggles as Kaladin, put in a world where everything is against him, including his own mind, and then it's that met with a bit of Inception meets fantasy kind of deal here, because I believe he goes into the minds of people in this place he goes to. That's all I really know. Don't want to look into any of these series too much because, as I said, I like to go into series as fresh as possible. So moving on to the books I picked up for Digging for Gems. The criteria for this series, if you do not know, it has to have 300 or less ratings on Goodreads, not reviews, ratings, and preferably sci-fi and fantasy. And they also have to be, of course, self-published or indie published. So moving on to the first book, the absolutely phenomenal Sordaneon by L.L. Stevens. I already have a review up for this on the channel if you're interested in checking that out. Guys, this is already a contender for Book of the Year for me. I think it will be hard to beat, really. It's only April as well. Like, this book was so good. It has some amazing characters and phenomenal character relationships. And The world, the way it's set up, you just really want to learn more about it, and you're just hungering to learn about more about the characters and the history of the world, the stuff going on with the magic system, and just there's like these. This right here is called the Rill, and it's this big god machine that gives certain people powers that relate to its function, kind of. One of those people being Dorilian Sordaneon, the MC right there on the cover. I'm not going to say too much more about this because I do have that review up already, spoiler free, but yeah, please pick up a copy of this book. It is amazing, and if you're into political fantasy as well, this is really good for that. So next up is Under the Lesser Moon by Shelley Campbell. Now, the reason I bought this book is actually really stupid. I went to the Goodreads page for this book, I looked at the author profile, and I started off with like, at a young age, and that reminded me of Connor Roy from Succession.
Interesting point, to which I would add, Connor Roy was interested in politics from a very young age.
And I bought this book solely on that basis. So because I do like to go into series as blind as possible, I don't really know a whole lot about these books, but I feel like just because these books are pretty lesser known, I should at least read out the blurb just to give you guys some kind of inclination of what's actually in the book. So I'm just going to read out the blurbs for these books. Dragons once led our people across the wastelands, away from stars, and toward hunting grounds. That's what the elders say, but a Christ has squinted at empty skies his whole life. The dragons have abandoned them, and it's a Christ's fault. He's cursed. Like every other firstborn son, he has inherited the sins of his ancestors. In his camp, he's the only eldest boy left. Something happened to the others, something terrible. When a Christ befriends Tanar, an eldest boy from another tribe, he discovers the awful truth. They're being raised as sacrifices to appease the goddess and win back her dragons. The ritual happens when the dual moons eclipse. Escape is the only option, but a Christ was never taught to hunt or survive the wastelands alone. Time is running out and he has to do something before the moons touch. So yeah, that actually sounded pretty damn interesting. I'm even more excited to read this. Might have to move it up to TBR. But I actually already know what the next book I'm reading is. I'm actually pausing the books I'm reading at the moment for exams and such. And then after I'm not resuming them, I'm going to read this instead. Because I've been seeing it so much on Twitter and it just really sounds like something I want to check out. And that would be Obsidian Awakening by Sienna Frost. I found this book on Twitter. I think the author followed me and then I went to her Twitter and I saw the book. I read the description and I said, holy shit, I need to read this book. But it was only in ebook format at the time and I'm not going to read books in that format unless it's Cradle. So I waited for this to be released physically and thankfully I didn't need to wait very long. It got released physically in paperback format I think about 2 weeks ago, and I believe she's working on a hardcover edition. I'm not too sure. She was asking for what dimensions people would prefer for that, so I believe she is. And the author really went above and beyond for this book, guys. First off, designed the cover herself, posted like snippets of the process on Twitter and asked for input and all that stuff. And then, as you might be able to tell from the bleeds on the edges, there are a lot of illustrations in this that she added in for the physical edition, which, you know, when Dominish Books is reviewing this, there's definitely going to be some discretionary points. Here's one such illustration. I mean, look how nice that is and the way the text plays around it. I mean, it looks so good. Really went above and beyond designing this. Definitely scoring brownie points with me. Here's another one. I mean, come on. There was another one that I really liked that I saw on Twitter. If I can find it really quick and show you guys. This isn't the one, but it is another one that I liked from Twitter. I don't want to spend too long looking through that trying to find that, but the gist of it is some really nice illustrations on the inside. And to read the blurb really quick, it's just a short one. 7 broken heroes, born on both sides of the war between an empire and a nomadic race of the desert, must survive the unforgiving hands of fate and decide what they treasure more, loyalty to their lands or what they hold dearest to their hearts. So I've actually watched the author interview between Sienna Frost and Steve over at Steve Talks Books. Very interesting video that you should definitely check out. It was a really enjoyable interview, as always with Steve's content. That interview is actually part of what made me want to read this next, because you can see that the author has a lot of first-hand experience. She didn't just research from behind the desk, so to speak. She spent actually time herself in these different nomadic tribes in Jordan and the other countries are escaping me. Mongolia, Jordan, and I believe there was a third. And I really want to see how she implemented everything she learned through her experiences of traveling and staying with these nomads, and how she put it all into this book. And I also gotta say, guys, what I love about ordering books from Amazon is that they send them in these packages that are like twice or in some cases triple the size of the book itself. So what you end up getting is this really nice case where the book shows up and the edges of the cover are scuffed. And when it's hardcovers, sometimes the corners are just dented, which I just absolutely love to get in books that I just bought. Next up, In the Orbit of Sirens by T.A. Bruno. I literally know nothing about this. This was a complete cover buy, and I thought it might be a good entry into sci-fi if I didn't go with the Sun Eater book. I'm going to read the synopsis really quick. The last fragments of the human race are forced to adapt to a dangerous new world or face extinction. When starship mechanic Denton Castus is caught in the destructive path of a devastating war, he abandons his home and seeks refuge on a distant planet. However, this new safe haven has undiscovered threats of its own. Eliana Vestin, I think is how you pronounce that, a scout preparing the planet for refugees, struggles with a deadly pandemic that is killing off colonists. The hunt for a cure unleashes a new threat to humanity, the Sirens, mysterious beings with incredible powers and deep hatred for invaders. Pretty glad I picked this up. That sounds pretty interesting. All these books sound pretty interesting once I actually learn a bit about them. Who would have thought? Moving on. The Nothing Within. Oh, I should actually say this is a trilogy. The second book is out and the third one is releasing this month, I think. It might be next month. Yeah, I think it's next month in May. So just wanted to say that real quick. Next up, The Nothing Within by Andy Geisler. Again, know nothing about this, gonna read the blurb real quick. I bought this because when I checked Amazon, there was one copy left for only €5, so how could I not buy that? So, in The Nothing Within, there isn't really any blurb. A rural dystopian novel exploring post-apocalyptic Amish country, a society shaped by fear, and private choices that remake the world. I'm gonna find a synopsis real quick on Amazon, just to give you guys a bit more than that. Okay, here's the synopsis I found on Amazon. Ruth is different. Though raised in a fearful society that reveres tradition and conformity, she's irreverent, outspoken, and deeply curious. Her blindness sets her even further apart. Centuries after the Reckoning, a global biotech plague, savage chimeras still threaten human survival. After Ruth hears a voice that no one else can hear, she flees into the wilderness. Outcast and hunted, she must confront a dire threat to her people, and unravel the mystery of who she really is. Again, sounds pretty interesting. I guess I should read synopsis from now on before buying books. Moving on to The Fangs of War by E.J. Doble. Actually do know a bit about the author here. I believe he put this book out when he was like 20 or 21, which made me feel incredibly inadequate as a 21-year-old. So moving on to the blurb. On a silent shore in a distant land, the world was coming to an end. After the brutal execution of Provence's king by the roving forces of Taraz, a new military government vaults into power with the nefarious Alvarez at the helm. Hellbent on bloodshed and the glory of an imperial past, he amasses the largest army seen in a generation and plunges the two nations into a bloody war, against the will of the godlike being known as the Allmother. Kavara, a general of the army at odds with her superiors over the war, is ground under the heel of the scheming commander Vivek and betrayed by her own people, left for dead on a distant shoreline. Saved by a passing ship and taken to the other end of the world, she is plagued by visions of a white void and a figure known as the Shadow Woman, who begins to unravel the true nature of the war, a conflict not only of men, but also of gods alike. In a story of hope, power, greed, and hatred, all are driven mad by the enemy within. None are safe from the Fangs of War. This sounds fucking sick, man. All these books, I keep reading the blurbs and I want to read them even more, but I just don't even have the time. There's not enough time in a day. So next up is A Drowned Kingdom by P.L. Stewart. As you can probably tell, I did start this. I finished part 1, and I'm not going to give my thoughts on that, I'll keep that for a video, but I am pausing this to read Obsidian because I really want to read Obsidian. So I'll do Obsidian for episode 2 of Digging for Gems, read like 2 or 3 Wheel of Time books, do those reviews, and then I'll come back for this for episode 3 of Digging for Gems. So I'm going to read the blurb real quick. Once second prince of the mightiest kingdom in the known world, Othron now leads the last survivors of his exiled people into an uncertain future far across the shimmering sea from their ancestral home, now lost beneath the waves. With his single god binding his knights to chivalric oaths, intent on wiping out idolatry and pagan worship, they will have to carve out a new kingdom on this mysterious continent. A continent that has for centuries been ravaged by warlords competing for supremacy and mages, channeling the mystic powers of the elements, and unite the continent under godly rule. I'm reading this out like shit. I did warn you guys earlier that I'm not very good at this kind of thing. Sorry. With a troubled past, a cursed sword, and a mysterious spirit guiding him, Othron means to be that ruler and conquer all. But with kingdoms fated on the edge of spears, alliances, and pagan magic, betrayal, doubt, and dangers await him at every turn. Othron will be forced to confront the truths of all he believes in on his journey to become a king and a legend. When one kingdom drowns, a new one must rise in its place. So begins the saga of that kingdom and the man who would rule it all. So there you have it, that's the blurb. Not going to say much more about it because I don't want to take up too much time running through all these blurbs. So the final book for this video is going to be In the Shadow of Ruin by Tony DiBaggio. Probably didn't pronounce that surname properly. And this was another cover buy for me. I mean, look how clean that is. Very impressed by the covers of these indie and self-published books, gotta say. Don't know anything about this, so straight into the blurb. King Jide Adelani has ruled the lands of the Yoruba in West Africa for many peaceful years, but now his kingdom is in turmoil and the cold grasp of death's embrace is closing in around everything he holds dear. Jide spends years garnering the respect and loyalty of the tribes in the hopes of uniting them into one cohesive empire when his half-brother, Prince Olise, returns from banishment to claim the throne as his own. The offspring of a union between the late King Adeosi and the evil enchantress Oof, I have not encountered a name like this before. Let me Google this. Okay, I got my pronunciation from Google, probably still gonna butcher this, but anyways. The offspring of a union between the late King Adeosi and the evil enchantress Ekaete, the bitter Olise has devoted the last decade to one purpose, to seize the throne and rule the kingdom. If he fails, he risks his name being erased from the history of the tribes. With the support of his mother, a powerful witch whose name is whispered in fear across the lands of the tribes, the outcast Olise now seems unstoppable in achieving his goal. Facing overwhelming military might and dark forces that he cannot comprehend, Jide must either choose to ignore the warnings of the gods and seek help from those who also appreciate dark arts, or risk losing his kingdom. I picked this up because it was on P.L. Stewart's Goodreads ratings. He liked this a lot, he gave it 5 stars, so I picked this up. And also it's set in a fictional Nigeria. I'm half Nigerian myself, so that made me pick it up as well. So there you have it, guys, that's all the books I picked up from the last haul. I should be back to uploading on a somewhat weekly basis, maybe bi-weekly, but next video should be up next week. It'll be part 2 of the Lord of Chaos review. Thank you guys very much for watching. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one.